What kind of features does community bring to YouTube creators?
Well, YouTube's been around for 11 years, and it's made a lot of people very happy by letting them do videos, but that's all it's let them do. And so for the first time, it's doing stuff that's pretty reminiscent of what you'd see on Facebook and Twitter in terms of letting people do text posts and still photos and animated GIFs. And it will also allow them to do live video.
Nice. So what exactly is kind of the problem, the issue that they're tackling with community? I mean, YouTube is full. I mean, obviously YouTube has no problem getting subscribers, getting people to interact with the videos that are there. But what were creators kind of missing that that community tackles?
Well, this is launching with just a dozen creators, most of who have millions of followers. And basically, these people, they get millions of views on YouTube, but if they want to do anything other than upload a video, and they're doing videos in some cases that are pretty ambitious and very lavishly polished, they've had to go to places like Twitter or Facebook or Snapchat or Instagram. And this allows them to do much more kind of off-the-cuff, quick communications with their followers, and also allows them to do it without getting into YouTube comments, which A, kind of have a reputation as not being all that great, and B, are attached to a specific video rather than a specific person. So it allows for kind of a more informal and off-the-cuff and fluid form of communication with their followers.
Nice.
I thought that was a really interesting part of your piece that I hadn't thought about. Yeah, we always talk about YouTube comments just being like the worst ever. and your point was that it's because there's not a whole conversation. It's not a back and forth. It's like, here's my video, and then someone can, it's sort of like driving by and throwing a rock at your house, you know, just
right.
Like, you're ugly, you're horrible, you're stupid, I hate what you're talking about, even if it's, you know, dolls or something. But what you say is that their idea is that, you know, they take these people like, you know, Hank and John Green, the vlog brothers, who are beloved, and then, you know, their audience, bring their audience there, and so they can post pictures or just, you know, make comments, and then they would have that audience. But you say they will eventually roll it out to everyone. What makes them think that the average person who maybe has more Twitter followers or more friends on Facebook, that the average person would do what they now do on Facebook and Twitter on YouTube?
Well, and they're definitely not trying to be Facebook or Twitter. When you hear about these features, it sounds like maybe YouTube is turning itself into a social network, and that's not really the idea at all. I think this really is for people who have at least something of a following on YouTube, and video is going to remain at the center of what they're doing. I don't think you'll ever see a day where text and still images and this other stuff is on an equal footing with video on YouTube. So it's really supplemental, and I think it's aimed at people who have these followers, and these, in a lot of cases, they already have a passionate community of people who love their YouTube videos. They just have not had a great way to communicate with those people on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, there used to be the integration of Google Plus into YouTube, and then that kind of got separated, as did everything from Google Plus at this point. It's pretty much all been peeled away. Do you think that YouTube or Google, they've kind of took some of those lessons? Because, I mean, this is definitely at its core a social offering, and Google's tried social many times, and, you know, depending on who you ask, they've either succeeded or not succeeded quite so well, or not at all. Do you think they've taken any of those lessons and kind of integrated it here in a way that's going to work for YouTube better?
They've definitely learned. I mean, I think people felt like the Google Plus integration was forced down their throats, basically because they had no choice. And with community, you'll be able to see these other types of updates in your subscriptions feed along with videos. But if you don't like that, you'll be able to turn it off. They also think a lot of people will want to get these as notifications, because if you're a big fan of Hank and John Green, you might want to see their stuff as they post it. But if you don't want to do that, you'll be able to turn that off too. So it's all optional. And they say they're going to, during this beta period, figure out whether it should be on by default or something you need to switch on specifically. But either way, you'll be able to choose.
And then what about content moderation? I mean, we kind of talked about this a little bit, just in the sense that YouTube comments, they can be toxic to a certain degree, depending on what videos you're watching and what kind of community is interacting with that particular video, let's say. Do creators that have community activated, do they have the ability to curate kind of some of the conversation that's happening there?
Yeah, so this is really designed to be kind of a safe space. For one thing, the creator initiates all the stuff. I can't go onto a creator's page and just post something myself. And I can comment on their posts, and other people can comment, but I can't comment on other people's comments unless I'm the creator. And if the creator doesn't like what I posted, they can just delete it. So it's not a free-for-all like Twitter. It's a little bit more like a Facebook page where the person who controls the page has quite a bit of control over what happens. And the philosophy is it's your page, and you get to decide whether people can do on it.
Got it.
When I think of community, I think a little bit differently of it than like a group of followers, which is, slightly different. Will this eventually be more like, a Reddit or something where there'll be, just videos about cats or videos about Android or, just community in that way? Or will it always be following a creator?
Yeah, I mean, right now this is really tied to the personalities who have followings on YouTube. And they say they're going to experiment with it and add more features. But the problem they saw was that there are these YouTube personalities who went elsewhere on the web to continue the conversations that generally started with their YouTube videos. So, my guess is that keeping with that philosophy of helping the creators is going to make sense, and there's no particular reason why YouTube should try to be a general purpose community. That's not what they're good at. And that's served pretty well on Reddit and Facebook and Twitter and elsewhere.
Yeah. And I mean, YouTube, per your article, it really worked with creators in the creation of it, not only inviting some people in to use it, but also to just ask them, like, what are the things you need? What is missing from the YouTube experience? So it really kind of seems like it was built around that feedback, which is very important when you're talking about these kinds of communities, these larger communities like this.
It was super collaborative. Yeah, they really brought people in early. And even the name community was chosen by creators. Originally, YouTube thought it should be called Backstage because they saw it as really focusing on behind-the-scenes stuff.
Yeah.
And the creators said, well, yes, we do like to do backstage stuff, but this is even a little bit broader, and that's how they settled on the name community.
Excellent.
It makes sense. I mean, you also talk about VidCon, which is the big conference for YouTubers, and there was, you had a picture in your article of like all the people like just sitting outside, just cross-legged and talking to each other, and it was like this idea, like, suddenly, like these people commenting like to hang out with each other and talk to each other. How novel is that? Talking in the real world.
Yeah, that was a real inspiration for YouTube. They basically said that's a better version of the YouTube community than the stuff actually going on YouTube in comments. And so they wanted to recreate some of that feel, except within the YouTube app and website themselves.
Nice. Harry McCracken with fastcompany.com. Always a pleasure getting you on, Harry. Thanks so much for coming on. Where can people follow you online?
They can follow me at Harry McCracken on Twitter, or they can just stop by fastcompany.com to see what I've been writing lately.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Harry. Have a great night.
Take care, Harry.
Thanks, folks. Take care.
Bye.